welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley and I'm the crochet designer slash business strategist here behind A Crafty Concept. In today's video, I wanted to tell you about my ugly Christmas sweater that I made this year for Christmas. I ended up making this sweater in about 3 hours, like start to finish, because I waited to the last minute and I almost ran out of time. I wanted to walk you through the step-by-step how I made this sweater, what changes that I would do differently for my next sweater. Spoiler alert, think October, Halloween 2023. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss it. And then that way you guys can make your own sweaters as well. So the first thing that I did was I went to Walmart looking for a sweatshirt that I could use. I wanted it to be solid color and I wanted it to be raglan style if possible. Luckily I found one. I found this one. It was solid red and I got it, I think it was about $10 from Walmart, and I also bought a white one just to have. My sweatshirt was in a medium, and I can't remember if this was in the men's or the women's section. It might have been between the two, actually. So if you can't find a sweatshirt at your Walmart, be sure to check both the men's and the women's section. You will probably find one. The first thing I did when I got home was cut off the sleeves that came on the sweatshirt, like the sweatshirt's regular red sleeves that it came with. I cut off the sleeves, and I was very careful to not cut off the seam. Keep your seams on, okay? We don't want to cut off our seams because that will help make attaching your knitted sleeves easier and cleaner if you have the nice seam still left on the sweatshirt. Cut your sleeves off, being very careful to go around the collar area too and leaving your seams, and then we're going to set that aside. After that, I went ahead and made my sleeves. I had literally 3 hours to make this sweater, so I thought knitting machine sleeves would be the fastest option, so that's what I did. First, I started with some waste yarn. That's important. Start with waste yarn, and then I cranked out 120 rows. I did 12 row blocks for my stripes, so each stripe is 12 rows, and it gave me a total of 120 rows. I knew about how long I wanted the sleeve to be because I make knitting machine hats, and I just based it off of that. Usually when I flip the hat inside out, I put my whole arm down there, so I had a good idea of how long I wanted my sleeves to be. But obviously if you want yours longer, you do more than 120 rows. If you want yours shorter, you do less than 120 rows. You might even could make like a little short sleeve sweatshirt situation. That would be fun. I went ahead and made 2 sleeves because I wanted my sweatshirt to have 2 matching sleeves, but you could make it uglier by making your sleeves different, or even leaving on one of the original sleeves and adding the crochet side. Maybe you could have like a plain sweater on one side and then a DIY sweater on the other side, something like that. So you can definitely get creative, but I went ahead and cranked out 2 sleeves of 120 rows with 12 row increments for my stripes. Then after I cranked out all of my rows, you end with some waste yarn, also important, and then we set it aside. Now we need to take our red sweatshirts and prep it around the armhole that we just cut out so we can prep it for attaching our new knitted arm sleeve that we just created. To do this, I tried to use the blanket stitch, where you take a giant piece of yarn and a tapestry needle and make the blanket stitch all the way around to give yourself a place to attach the sleeve to. That was a disaster. No blanket stitch for me. I ended up crocheting around my armhole. I started with a tiny metal crochet hook that's like really little because I wanted it to poke through the fabric, but then I found out my D 3.25 millimeter crochet hook from Clover & More was just small enough to go through the actual fabric of the sweatshirt. Once I found out that I could use my D crochet hook, it went a lot faster. I was just single crocheting around the armhole opening of my sweatshirt. It did get a little bit difficult when it was time to come around this collar area, so I did have to use a tiny pair of sewing scissors, and I just kind of shoved it in there and opened and closed the scissors to make my hole a little bit bigger to give room for my crochet hook to go into. As I've already mentioned, I was in a hurry. My Christmas party was that evening and it was already late afternoon. I didn't math out how many single crochet stitches I should have in my sleeve hole opening. I knew that my sleeves had 46 stitches because I used my Addi 46 knitting machine to make my sleeves. Should have said that earlier, I apologize. So I knew my sleeves had 46 stitches, but I just randomly single crocheted around the opening, and I was like, I'll figure it out when I get there. But it would have been smarter to math it out first. And if I'd had more time, I would have done that. If I were to make another one, October 2023, I would do double the amount of sleeve stitches that I have. So 46 times 2 is 92. So I would have done 92 single crochets, and I think that would have given it a slightly cleaner look. I feel like it's a little bunchy, especially, I mean, it's a little bunchier in some areas more than others. And I think if there was just more single crochet stitches, it wouldn't be so bunchy. So double the sleeve hole stitches, then your sleeve stitches. So you have one sleeve stitch matches 2 of these. So you would just kind of like go in this one and attach the sleeve stitch, and then go in the next one and attach at the same sleeve stitch and go all the way around that way. I think that would have made it a much cleaner look. I used my H crochet hook to attach my knit sleeve onto my crochet stitches that I made on my sleeve hole. And I had 80 single crochet stitches around my sleeve hole and 46 stitches around my sleeve. So I had to like do some math to make it space out evenly. I think it had something to do with the number 13. It didn't work out perfectly, but I tried to, like, every 13th stitch, I would take 1 knit stitch for 2 sleeve stitches, and it was okay. It wasn't perfect, but it was okay. Obviously, you can tell that it's not perfect, but it worked out. After I attached both of my sleeves, it was time to decorate. And my first thought was I will make a cute long green cord using my Tulip I-cord maker, and I would just make like a zigzaggy Christmas tree on the front of my shirt and then put some sort of star on the top. And I thought that would be really festive and really pretty. Turns out it kind of looked like a snake. There's a whole stigma around churches and snakes, right? I didn't want it to look snaky. So I ended up attaching Christmas lights. This is a free crochet pattern that is already on my blog, but I had these already made years ago. So I just took them off of what I was using them for already and attached them randomly, which is I'm not good at random. But I was in the car while my husband was driving, so that made it easier because I couldn't like lay it out flat and see everything that I was doing. But then I just randomly tacked on these little crochet Christmas lights with a tapestry needle and some black yarn, and I just put it on, and then on the inside I tied knots. I cut it, like, it's really choppy on the inside, see? But it works, and it looks really cool, and I like that they're dangly. That was fun for me, that they were dangly. Lastly, I wanted to add a cuff, the ends of my sleeves, but sadly I ran out of time. So this is what my sleeves looked like at the Christmas party, which isn't horrible with the little roll situation. That's just what the yarn naturally does, and it's not awful. I still wanted to try to add the cuffs that I had in my mind the whole time. So to finish this sleeve, to be able to wear it so it didn't unravel at my Christmas party, I just took my waist yarn was still on the sleeve, and then I took my H hook and I pulled up a loop, the first loop of white after the waist yarn, and I picked up the first loop of white, and then I grabbed the second loop and pulled it into the first loop. And now I have the second loop on my hook. Then I grabbed the third loop and pulled it into the second loop. And now I have the third loop on my hook. Grabbed the fourth, pulled it through, did that all the way around until I got to the end, and then I just tied off with my tail that was already left from putting it on my knitting machine to begin with. So I just tied it off like normal and sewed in all of my tails. Also, the inside of the sweater isn't perfect because you can see where I changed colors for all the stripes, but it worked fine. And it doesn't bother me, like, inside. It doesn't make me uncomfortable or anything. I can't even tell that it's like that, so that worked fine. This is how I wore it at my Christmas party. I was a top 3 finalist in the Ugly Christmas Sweater Challenge that we had. The judges chose the top 3 finalists, and then the crowd chose the winner. And I will say, this was at the very end of the party, and all of my friends have young children. They had already left by this time in the party. There was some pretty stiff competition, so I can't complain. It was really super fun. We had a great time, and I really enjoyed making this sweater. I have been wanting to make knitting machine sleeve sweaters for years, and I just never make it a priority, and I was like, this year I'm freaking doing it. And thankfully, my husband, he cooked the pie that we needed to take to the party, and he cooked the creamy chicken. I don't know, they gave us a recipe, and he cooked all of that and was like, go make your sweater, I will do these things. I was really thankful for him to give me the guilt-free freedom to go make my sweater, because I've been wanting to make one for years. I did end up crocheting the cuff just for this video because I wanted to show you guys what it could look like. I didn't crochet both of them because I'm not crazy about how this one turned out. what I would do differently is go down to a G hook. So to make this cuff, I used an H hook. I single crocheted around the 46 stitches where we looped them into each other. I single crocheted around those 46 stitches, and then I chained 9 and then single crocheted 8 back down my chain, joined into the body of my sleeve, chained 1, and then went back up. So you're making the rib stitch just like you do in the Claire Bun Beanie or the Claire Coffee Cozy, a lot of my other patterns that have the rib stitch, but usually we start with the rib stitch. For this sleeve, we end with the rib stitch. So you have to kind of attach it back down into the sleeve as you go. But you just want to make sure that you have the same number of rows that you have sleeve stitches. So 46 is what we're going for. I might have accidentally did 47. I'm not 100% sure. The last one that I did, I attached them, the first and last rows together with my last row of single crochets. And it made a really nice seam. I don't know if you can, that's the seam. Wait, right there. So you can hardly tell. You can hardly tell that it's any different than the rest of the cuff. So it turned out pretty good. And I really like the finished look of it. I think it looks really nice and finished. I just wish it was tighter. And that's just like style preference. Some people are all about the loose baggy. I just think if it was tighter, my sleeve would be a little bit more baggier and like bunchy a little bit, and I think that would look really cool. So I'm gonna do that again on this side. Just probably won't get to it until December 2023 because your girl's getting ready to switch gears for New Year's, and I've got stuff coming down the pipe that needs my attention. So this is gonna have to wait, but I definitely wanted to get it done so you could at least get a basic idea of what is in my brain. But that is how I made my ugly Christmas sweater. I hope you guys like this little quickie tutorial. I'm going to be trying to do more things like this all throughout the year of 2023. Speaking of 2023, I have a ton of really fun videos lined up for you guys. So go ahead and subscribe while you're still hanging out. That way you don't miss a single one of them. If you like this video and are okay with like quick overview tutorials, give me the thumbs up. These really help my love language. My love language is words of affirmation, and when I see you guys liking my videos, it tells me that you like what I'm putting out, speaks to me in my love language, and then I'm able to like mentally get more content out for you all. So if you like it, show me that you like it. Also feel free to leave a comment. If you don't like it, if you would like for it to be more in depth, let me know in the comments and I can try to work that into the schedule this year sometime in 2023. If you're staring at my hat, if you can't focus on this sweater because you're so obsessed with this hat, I have great news for you. This is a free crochet pattern here on my channel, so I will link that for you down below. This is the closed Claire Bun Beanie pattern. Last thing before I leave, it wouldn't be a crafty concept video if I didn't have a freebie for you. I love spoiling my email list people with freebies. I send freebies at least once a week, usually twice a week. All kinds of resources to help you guys with your crochet businesses. All of my freebies are designed to help people with crochet businesses. So if you have a crochet business and you want the freebie that goes with this sweater, it is a pack of wrap labels to go around your crochet things, and it is in the theme of ugly Christmas sweaters. You can get this pack absolutely for free by signing up to my email list down below, and it will be sent to you automatically. You will get a horizontal sheet, a vertical sheet, and a matching sheet of thank you cards that you can cut out, wrap around your crocheted or knit pieces, and send them in the mail for your Etsy orders, or use them as gift packaging if you're gifting things to your friends and loved ones. That's all I have for today, friends. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for hanging out, and thank you for just going along this maker journey with me. It is one of the best parts about my life, and I'm so excited that I get to share it here with you guys on YouTube and over on Instagram and over on my blog and just on all of the places. So I couldn't do it if you weren't here watching, so thank you for being here from the bottom of my heart. I hope you have an amazing day, a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video.